let's do this. Welcome, everybody. Welcome back to the Trifecta podcast, a podcast from all corners. This is Braden, as usual. We're here today with Des, and we have Brandi back. Look at her. She's back. Look at her beautiful face. Oh, so cute. This week, we're going to get into some very interesting topics, and I'm very excited to jump into it with you guys. So let's do a quick little catch up and do our what's the word and get things started. So I know, Brandi, it's been a little while. The people want to know, how are you doing?
Everyone's like waiting.
We want to know the floor saga. The floor saga continues.
Oh my God, the fucking floor saga. Jesus Christ. So yeah, I can't remember what we had talked about last time. I think last time it was like, was it the hotel last time?
I'm pretty sure, probably.
Yeah. Okay. So long story short, we were not covered by insurance because technically it is not fire or flood. It's kind of a weird insurance gray area. So technically the condo is quote unquote uninhabitable, but like it's safe except for like that one area in the kitchen. So yeah, we had to move as of like 3 days ago. We had to move as of November 1st. So we were like frantically condo searching and like trying to find a place to like move. We were going to break the lease and then move out into a new place. And then once all of the repairs were done, then she can offer the condo back to us, obviously at a increased price point because it's a brand new condo at that point. And then 3 days ago, she texted us, the owner texted us, and she was like, hey, listen, if I push back these repairs, I know you're going on vacation at the end of December or at the end of November. What if we just push back the repairs until February? I give you a discount on your rent and you guys can just stay there, not feel so much pressure to find a place like ASAP Rocky, and find something for January, February. So we took her up on that offer and gives us a little bit more time to find something permanent because I don't think we'll be back to the condo, just mostly because I'm a bitter bitch and like kind of out of spite because like we definitely got royally screwed over. But again, 100%. She's going to raise the price point too. And I'm not sure it's going to be under what our budget is currently. So yeah, so I get to just wait a little bit, go on vacation, come back and then move after that in the new year, which would be great for a fresh start.
Totally. 100%. Yeah. That's still like BS that they're like, I don't know. They should be covering things.
I'm trying really
so
hard
irritated for you. Like I just like if I was there, I'd be like at their door and be like, no, honey, you don't listen, Linda, listen, okay? Like you're going to do this for her, and you are going to make it right. Like no, like it's so ridiculous. I can't even right now.
It's kind of a role reversal because normally I'm the like chill one, and Shay is kind of the one that's a little bit more like overthinking and like. I have just been so like irrationally angry and like upset about the whole situation that it's just she's been the calm one and I've just been like, man, like fuck you, fuck that guy, fuck her, fuck like it's just been a lot. So so yeah, not obviously an ideal experience, but I've done lots of adulting this past few months.
No, for sure. Well, there's only like there's less than like 60 days until we go on vacation, and it's going to be so much fun. And we're going to do a cruise podcast at that point too, I think. So that's the plan at least.
So fun. I'm excited because now I can actually enjoy my vacation without having to move in between then. And it does free up like a little bit more, that the discount for the rent frees up a little bit more money for me, which makes me happy because I can enjoy a little bit more of the vacation, whereas before I would have had to be a little bit more budget conscious. So
totally, 100%. Yeah. I'm so excited.
I'm so ready. I have like a countdown on my phone, and every morning I open it and I'm like, oh my God, 65, 64, 63. We're so close.
It's so funny because like for like so like at work we have like a group chat kind of a thing, and so like it has a channel topic, and so I was like, oh, I'm going to make sure that like everybody knows that we're like this many days close to BFCM because like we help people with their businesses, right? So like I just wanted to make sure that like, they are aware and to make sure that they're having those conversations with the people that we help. And so I was like secretly, I was like, this isn't for them, it's for me. It's my countdown to my vacation because we literally leave on Black Friday. So sorry about it.
I'm not sorry. As someone who works in retail, sorry, not sorry.
Yeah, 100%. So, Jez, what's new with you?
Not too much. The kids were sick this week, so I kept Xander home from school on Wednesday and Friday, and I didn't get to do everything that I wanted to on Friday, but despite them being sick, I didn't get sick. And so I take that as a win. And the week wasn't that bad, like, even though they were not feeling like 100%. So that was okay. And I've also officially begun my new position as a gift coordinator for You Can't Spoil a Baby. So really excited about that, starting to make more gifts. And that'll be like a year-round thing where I can take like donations and turn them into gifts for Manitoba families in need.
That's so exciting.
Yeah.
I love that. It's like, I don't know, but it's like the you can be like those like lottery prize winners that like when they go to the door, like the home stick, whatever that's called. I don't know what it's called. But they go to their door, they have balloons and a big check and be like, ah.
Yeah.
I don't remember what it's called.
This was baby stuff. Ah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do kind of feel like that
I'd
when you
still be
drop off
pretty
the gifts.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
I'd be
because
pretty excited for baby stuff if it was for me and I don't have babies. Like, let's be real.
They're pretty extensive gifts too, because you get like a full size range all the way from like newborn to like 18 months, sometimes even higher. And you get like a big ticket item. So like you could get like a high chair or like an exerciser with your stuff, and like toys and like diapers, like all different kind of things that like will help in that first year of life for the new baby. And it's a big gift. So it is kind of like showing up with a big check. It takes a big burden off of these parents' shoulders to get that extra support that they might not have had otherwise. So No, I just said I love it.
I was gonna ask, so do like the people that are getting the gifts, do they know that they're getting it, or do you just like?
Yeah, they do know. They apply. I don't know if they're told like what all is going to be in the gift. I know that they're asked like to make like 2 kind of like suggestions about like a big ticket item that they could use. And they're like, they know that they might not necessarily get those items, but that's like their wish list. So if we do have one of those items, then we can like specifically try to include that. But every time you make a gift, when you make a match, you contact the person yourself. So I'm a gift coordinator. I can contact the matches, like if I like when I take matches, but like even as somebody who's just making one gift, like say you only want to make one gift like a year, like we were doing before, you still get to talk to that person. So you talk to the gift recipient, and you can like the first one that I had done, we used to text back and forth, and I was like, well, would this be something that you would want? Like, are you interested in this? Or like, what colors are you trying to like do the baby's room in? Like, you can get specific or you can stay generic. It's up to like you basically, but you can make some really good connections as well, which is like really nice. That you can like, sometimes they'll ask to stay in touch with you and stuff, which is a nice thing too. And yeah, you grow your community of people.
That's really cool. So if someone say wanted to donate stuff to like these gifts, how would they go about doing that?
Well, you can go to the website, youcan'tspoilababy.org, and there's a map of drop spots. So those can be like homes in your area or businesses in your area. And I am now one of those drop spots. So my house as well can like take donations. And then the people at those locations sort and make gifts as well. So like that's what I'll be doing here. But now I'll be on the map for being a drop spot as well. So
that's super sweet. That's so exciting.
Is clothing like a thing?
Clothing, yeah.
Yeah, because like we always have such fantastic deals for like the kids section and like the baby section specifically. So like, okay.
Yeah, definitely, because that's like, I think the biggest part of the gift is the clothing. Because like in one size run, say you're doing like 0 to 3 months as your size run, you're giving 5 sleepers, 5 tops, 5 bottoms, and like a few kind of special outfits. And that's like a huge amount of clothing for just, because that's just 0 to 3. You do that for 0 to 3, 3 to 6, 6 to 9, 9 to 12, and 12 to 18 months. So they get like a full like wardrobe for baby. And, you know, it's for a lot of people, like that's a huge thing, because it's a lot of money to go out and buy. And also you're reducing your environmental footprint by using like reused or, you know, like those kind of items, like, because a lot of the donations are like reused clothing from babies. So that's a huge thing as well that I appreciate from the initiative. But yeah,
that's super cool. Nothing really exciting for me. I'm still doing my stuff. Brandi, I don't think you were here last, but I didn't get the position that I had wanted, unfortunately. But I just had a meeting with a few people and got some like good feedback.
Okay.
I got a little frustrated and a little discouraged, but I always kind of just like take some time and like really like just kind of let it sink in and like reflect and then kind of jump right back into things. So
like, as much as I hate when people say it, it's definitely true. It's just not the right time, but it will be
100%. And I think part of it was like because like going to like my swim classes and stuff like that have been they're super beneficial to me right now, and like they're actually something that like is really important to me, and I want to make sure that I can still go to those every day. And if I had gotten one of those positions, it most likely would have been an earlier time frame that I would have been working in, and I wouldn't been able to go to those fitness classes. So I think it's kind of like this miniature like blessing in disguise kind of a thing. So I'm trying to like just like think positively as much as I want that position. But it's all good. Like it'll happen when it happens, and I'm just trying to like grow and like learn some more and stuff. So I got some really great feedback, really great resources to help me like kind of like level up and take me to things. Everybody I talked to said that, like it's really good that I got to like the second round of interviews, because a lot of people don't make it to like the second round of interviews. So like it's nice to know that like I have what it takes to get to at least like that point. And it's just like these small little things that I just really need to be able to showcase within my interviews. One of the big things, surprisingly enough, is I have a hard time like articulating and getting my point across when I'm trying to like explain something. And so like I'll do like this big like ramble, be like blah, 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 and the sky's blue and blah, 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 and like come back. and so that's one thing I'm trying to like kind of work on.
Just like make it a little concise.
So we're working on it and gonna go from there. Nothing else is really exciting. I'm trying to find fun clothes for our trip. I really want to find
so many bathing suits.
I want to find a new bathing suit, but I also want to like, because they have like formal nights, right? And like they've changed it so that like the formal nights aren't like hardcore formal. Like my parents were just on a my parents were just on a cruise, and like formal nights, like if you weren't like dressed up actually like really nice, you weren't really supposed to like sit in like the main dining rooms, like kind of a thing. And it was actually really funny. They were telling me that they went to like the Windjammer, it's like the buffet area, one night, and there was a lady there dressed to the nines in like full ball gown to, like from Titanic, and she's like, eating at the buffet, and I was like, that's hilarious, first off. But they've changed it, so it's like it's something try to wear your best or something like that. They changed the name, but I can't remember what it's actually called now.
Okay, good.
But I want to like, I don't know, I want to like dress up and like look fancy and be like, yes, we bougie or something, you know? Like, I don't know. I just want to look nice. So
you gonna look nice. It's gonna be amazing.
But I'm pretty excited because like I just weighed myself recently and I shared it on Facebook and everything. I've lost 65 pounds since which is like super awesome. And so I haven't tried on, I have a pair of like black dress pants that like they fit before, but we're kind of like, eh. So I'm going to try them on and like see how they fit. But it's been super awesome. Like I've been noticing like slight changes in like the fits of my clothes and stuff. And it's like, it's kind of crazy. I'm pretty stoked about it and excited to like, and that's why like I say like this like fitness class is like a huge thing, because if I didn't go to that, like that's not like, that's definitely something that's helping, right? So
yeah,
we'll see what happens.
That's so awesome. I'm so proud of you.
Me too. I just remember you always talking about like just wanting to take a step in the right direction in that regard, and I'm so grateful that like you're enjoying yourself as much as you are on that journey, because it is hard, but to find something you enjoy that's also beneficial for you that way is great.
Yeah.
100%. That's why I'm like, I don't want to change these days, because like I really like my class, and like the little old ladies are so cute. They're like, hi Brandon. I was like, yeah, hi.
Brandon. That's me.
Yeah. It's funny, but it is
coming here for like 4 months, but okay, Dixie.
Braden, you gotta teach them to podcast. you gotta be like, here's my podcast. You just go right here and I can hear you.
No, they can't though. No, I don't know.
Teach them to technology.
Teach you technology, yeah. So, but yeah, that's the thing. So, yeah, I'm excited for our trip. I think we're gonna have a lot of fun, and I just want it to be now. I just want my parents, like, they're going on another cruise in October here, and they even I think it was 3 weeks yesterday. So I'm excited for them, and it just makes me know that like ours is like just that much closer, because like when they get back, I think it's like 2 weeks until we leave.
I'm so ready.
So it's so crazy. I'm so excited. But yeah, so I guess we can get into things here. So we're going to get into our, what's the word? What's the word?
Yeah,
exactly. So Des, do you want to introduce this? What's the word this week? Because do you know more about it?
I'll try. So we were just discussing before the podcast that we had come across these articles. I had seen one about the clothing designer who had made some sweaters for Fashion Week, and they had like Sandy Hook, Columbine, like the schools with the major big shootings across. They were like kind of like not varsity sweaters, but like collegiate type sweaters, and they were like ridden with like bullet holes. So they got like a huge kind of backlash, being like, this is not like appropriate. It's not okay. Like commenters were like really furious with it, where like family members of like the victims even were commenting stuff like, you know, like, so glad my brother got shot in the head for you to like make a profit and like become popular with these sweaters. Like, glad he could help you out with that. Just really hurt by the sweaters. And then Brandi had mentioned that Naomi Campbell had like, do you remember where she went in the dress?
I think
it was London. It was London Fashion Week.
Okay, so it was Fashion Week as well. And then she had worn like a simple white dress, and it had a bullet hole in like the torso area, with like blood coming out. Obviously fake blood, like it was designed that way. And the designer there had kind of like a similar I guess inspiration, like both of the designers kind of
message behind it.
Yeah, both of the designers kind of expressed that they wanted to bring, I guess, a sort of awareness about the issues with gun violence. And then in Naomi Campbell's situation, like she wanted to bring light to the fact that like, even if she's like a high profile celebrity, that she still is living her life as like a Black woman, and that Black women in America are still seen as targets no matter what her stature is. And that because she has kind of this what is it called? Stage to platform. Yeah. I'm like, what is that word? Platform, a stage to speak on. But because she has this platform that she would use her voice to speak about it. So her dress did not get the kind of backlash that the sweaters got. So we were going to discuss. So the floor is yours to start.
Braden?
I was just gonna say the first, like for me, like I think it's I like the idea, like the concept behind it, to like really bring that like awareness to it, because I think like people obviously they can know that like gun violence is like a huge thing, but I feel like it gets pushed away to the side like quite a bit until something happens, and then people get into like this uproar, and then it gets kind of like forgotten about again. So I do kind of like, I like the idea of having it be like these fashion pieces, like Naomi Campbell, for example. Like hers is more of just like a fashion statement piece for a specific event like this. Like it's not something that you would wear on a daily basis. Whereas like the other designer, Bstroy, I think it was. I think those ones are supposed to be like almost mass produced, from my understanding, for people to actually wear, which I kind of have mixed feelings about, because like I get the message behind it, but at the same time, like I think it's not a way of honoring those that actually did lose their lives in those particular like events. Yeah. So I don't know, I'm kind of like conflicted on that. So and again, like I think the designer behind Naomi Campbell's dress, it's more generalized. It's generalized altogether. Like it's just showing gun violence in general instead of like pinpointing these specific events. So I don't. Yeah.
I feel like the designer, but who's the designer that did Naomi Campbell's? Does anybody have the name of that guy?
I'm going to spell it because I don't want to mispronounce it horribly. It's Mowalola. So Mawalola, maybe.
Okay, so I feel like his design.
Sorry, it's a she.
Sorry. Her design is done in. I feel like a more. I don't know what the word. I feel like I'm also getting sick this week, so my brain is a little bit fuzzy. I'm like, I don't know what the word is for this, but like classier, I guess. Like it's not done in a gimmicky way. It's a simple peaceful white dress. It's peaceful. And then it's showcasing the person who's in it, and letting the person be the voice more. Like yes, it has the bullet hole, and it's a statement. The design is a statement, but if it wasn't Naomi Campbell wearing it, it wouldn't be just some random high school person or, you know, me or Brandi going out one night wearing that. It's because Naomi Campbell wore it and it was able to give it that platform that it did get to speak its message. Whereas I didn't feel like that with the sweaters. Like the sweaters again are a casual thing, whether or not they are meant to be sold in a mass production, because I think that originally they said they weren't going to, but then now that the controversy had hit, that they were considering doing it now because they're so talked about, which I think is despicable. Like that just sounds disgusting to me. I don't know, I mean, what the facts are. That's just what I had read, but I just feel like the way that they did theirs was completely different. And like you're actually putting the name of a school. So you're actually showcasing the people who were victims of that. You're still not giving them a name, but you're just like blanket statement, like, oh, Columbine. And then bullet holes is like, I get what they're saying their message is, but to me, if I see somebody wearing a sweater that has bullet holes and says Columbine, it looks like a joke, looks like it's satire. Like it doesn't, it doesn't speak the same way that dress did. And so that's why it seems appalling to me when I look at that. Like Sandy Hook, that was like, it's in an elementary school. To put on a sweater that says Sandy Hook with bullet holes in it, it turns my stomach that you would think that that's okay and that the families would not be extremely hurt to see that. Like it doesn't speak to the same way that the dress does, in my opinion. It's a different, I don't know if they were meaning to be like malicious. I feel like they did think that they were saying the same thing and that they were doing it in a way that would showcase that. But I just think that they just fell short of that mark. It was the wrong way to go. It was a bad decision.
Yeah, I think if it was more of like if it was something that somebody wore to like kind of like almost like a climate strike or like some type of like event like that, to be like, this is who I'm standing up for, and like this, like to showcase it like in that way.
If it was a strike about gun violence, like if it was like literally, you know, the people standing up saying like, we need better gun control in the country and we're having a strike about this right now, and you showed up to like speak about it or something, and you were standing up at a podium on the mic and you had that sweater, that's different. That's a statement. But like I said, it's the person who's wearing it, like Naomi Campbell. It wasn't just some random Jane Doe wearing that dress. It was Naomi Campbell who had a platform. And these people were just models at Fashion Week. Like, yeah, it was just a brand. It didn't get that voice, and in result, it was very offensive. What do you think, Brandi?
Okay. I had a different image in my head when you were talking about the sweaters. I didn't click on the link until you guys started speaking. And then I got mad. I'm kind of shaky a little bit. I'm so angry. Okay, so when you were talking about the sweaters, I was imagining like a Letterman's jacket kind of sweater. But it's like a hoodie. It's a hoodie. And when I was thinking like a Letterman jacket that was white with like all of the schools on it, and like not physical holes, but like printed holes, like on top of the fabric.
No. It like for the people listening, it's literally a hoodie that's made to look like ratty, like an old worn hoodie that has the school's name across it, just like any collegiate sweater, like hoodie would be, and then literally like ripped bullet holes as if you were actually shot.
Yeah. So I don't know why I had such like a visceral reaction when I opened up the link, because that's not what I was expecting, and then I physically saw it, and I'm really upset. Like I'm pissed. I don't know who the fuck you think you are, trying to create a message in that regard with your fucking shitty fashion line, using people's hurt feelings, using people's dead families, so that you can create some sort of ruckus, go viral for a hot fucking minute, and then fade off into the background because you have nothing better to design. Fuck you. I'm so mad. I'm so mad. I literally can't. Like, it's physically ripped. And as someone who works in retail, if I had those sweaters coming into my store to sell, I would light them on fire. Like, I literally, could you imagine walking through a store, whatever store it could be a boutique. Could you imagine walking into that store, seeing that sweater and thinking, I should purchase this and wear it outside?
And that's what I'm saying is, like, if I did see somebody, like, say these were somewhere and somebody bought them, I do not believe that majority of the people who are buying them are being like, I am for this statement. No, they're going to be people who actually, like, probably immature high school students who don't have like the capacity to really, you know, empathize and sympathize.
They probably wouldn't even know what those things are. You know, like
it would be for either the trend period, or it would be for a joke, and that is disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm imagining like walking. I take the bus, so I'm imagining walking onto a bus and seeing a teenage boy wearing that sweater. I'm not saying I would get like physical with him, but I would have some words, because like I just, people died. People lost their family members. It is such a tragic event, and people's lives were forever changed. And you want to wear that as a fashion statement? Like, I don't think so.
That's where I'm like, like I said, I do have a little bit, like, I'm like, okay, I can understand their thought of it. Like what I was saying to Braden, like if it was somebody standing up at a podium talking about how we need gun control, and they wore it and they were like, my brother died and I wear this sweater because like this, like it would be different. It would be a totally different impact.
No. And you know, I'm even more upset. I'm even more upset because not only did he show these sweaters at a New York fashion or whatever fashion week it was, New York Fashion Week, he put out that stupid pamphlet as if that would justify him putting out this fucking shitty stuff. Like, oh, it's okay if I just say, oh, I'm sorry, this is actually like a statement that I'm making. Like, no, fuck you. You don't get away with stuff because you're just putting out a stupid pamphlet before you show them. That's like being like, oh, I wrote down this pamphlet before I shot you in the fucking face. Like, oh, does it make it any, like, did you not get shot in the face because I wrote that pamphlet? No, you still got shot in the face. Like, I mean, that example. But like,
but like the family, like it means nothing to the families. Like
it doesn't make it okay. You cannot I guarantee they're just looking for some sort of reaction to go viral. And it does not make it okay for you to just put on a pamphlet, this was my intention. Because whether that's your intention or not, it's still in poor taste. You're still a shitty human being. And I'm upset. I don't even care about Naomi Campbell. Good for her for wearing the dress. It's a completely different statement.
Yeah. And then like another thing is like what I
love you, Brandi, so much.
I'm sorry.
To me, it's like the sweaters are so much more, I feel like along the lines of a costume, whereas Naomi Campbell's was a statement. She wasn't dressed up as anybody, but if you see somebody wearing that, to me, you're wearing a costume of a student who was shot at Columbine, or like one of the other schools that they have on the sweater.
The word you said previously, satire.
Yeah. And like, that's what it is. That's what it looks like. So that perception is everything. But like, Naomi Campbell's wasn't. She was the platform to a statement piece, and that bullet hole could have meant many different things, but because of what she spoke on it and what she represented and who she is, it made that statement. They did not put any effort into making those statements. So to me, it wasn't the top thing in their mind. And I could be wrong. I don't want to like assume, but like, I just plain and simple, they didn't do it. They did. If that truly was their intention, they didn't succeed. So it was shitty, and it was.
Take your pamphlet and shove it up your ass. I'm so mad. No, I just can't. Like, could you imagine? What if, like, I want to know what the people in the audience were thinking. Like, I would have been shocked. Out of my goddamn mind. I swore so much. I'm so sorry. That was aggressive. I'm just like shaking. I'm so mad.
No,
like, who do you think you are? People are just like masking statements or like trying to look like they're doing good things and making a statement when they're just doing things for a reaction or profit. And I'm just like,
yeah, that bothers me. It bothers me so much that people are like, okay, like that they're wanting. I truly feel like that's what they're trying to do. Is they made these as a statement to get their brand name like out there as like viral, and then they'll just like, this is how they became like this huge thing, and that like hardcore bothers me because like I don't know, it's wrong, it's unethical, it's like I feel so bad for those families that went through all of that.
Yeah, okay, so I just looked up their other stuff. They're at Hudson's Bay, so that's why they're mad. They're mad that they can't be anywhere better, so they're in.
We love the Bay, though. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I don't know. I have no words for that designer. Like,
yeah, no, I was like, I'm done.
They'll never get a penny from me.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And that's our what's the word.
That's a thing. It's a thing. So I guess we can get into our main topic of this week, which is also will probably spark some good conversation. But we were going to discuss Greta. What's her last name, Des?
Greta Thunberg.
Thunberg. Okay. Even though I thought it was Thunberg, but Thunberg. Right. And talk about kind of like global climate change and kind of things that are being promised and what are kind of going on now. So in case anybody hasn't already heard Greta's speech from the UN summit, we were just going to actually include it here. It's only about 5 minutes or so, and then kind of get into talks about that. Did we want to do that now, or I know Des, you had a little bit of a background before about Greta.
I can. Yeah. So if some of our listeners don't know who she is, she's a 16-year-old Sweden girl who is a climate activist. And basically, like, media started kind of giving her attention because she started cutting her Fridays and to sit in front of her parliament and strike about climate change. So this was a young girl who was, missing school to do something that she thought was very important, and just showing like the dedication and seriousness of her cause. So she gained a lot of media attention with that, and then from there it just like snowballed, right? Because people like would interview her and she'd speak on things, and she's got to meet some very awesome people who know a lot about the science behind climate change and global warming and green energy, like all of these things. So she's been able to get a lot of information, and then also to relay it back to the public, because she has all this media attention in a way that even youth as well as adults can understand and start kind of, I guess, participating in. And so she recently came to speak at the UN. That was on the 20th, I believe. And instead of like flying over or anything like that, she sailed here on a zero emission sailboat, which was pretty amazing. She said, like, in an interview, like, she's lucky enough that she is able to do something like that, and so she thought, why not? Clearly that's been like a huge thing in the media as well. And then she had her speech, which I think Braden is going to play now.
Yeah.
Greta, your first climate strike was a lonely event a little over a year ago. And in the intervening time, you have sparked the interest of millions, literally, of children around the globe, demanding action for climate change. What's your message to world leaders today?
My message is that we'll be watching you. This is all wrong. I shouldn't be up here. I should be back in school on the other side of the ocean. Yet you all come to us young people for hope. How dare you? You have stolen my dreams and my childhood with your empty words, and yet I'm one of the lucky ones. People are suffering. People are dying. Entire ecosystems are collapsing. We are in the beginning of a mass extinction, and all you can talk about is money and fairy tales of eternal economic growth. How dare you? For more than 30 years, the science has been crystal clear. How dare you continue to look away and come here saying that you're doing enough when the politics and solutions needed are still nowhere in sight? You say you hear us and that you understand the urgency. But no matter how sad and angry I am, I do not want to believe that. Because if you really understood the situation and still kept on failing to act, then you would be evil, and that I refuse to believe. The popular idea of cutting our emissions in half in 10 years only gives us a 50% chance of staying below 1.5 degrees and the risk of setting off irreversible chain reactions beyond human control. 50% may be acceptable to you, but those numbers do not include tipping points, most feedback loops, additional warming hidden by toxic air pollution, or the aspects of equity and climate justice. They also rely on my generation sucking hundreds of billions of tons of your CO2 out of the air with technologies that barely exist. So a 50% risk is simply not acceptable to us, we who have to live with the consequences. To have a 67% chance of staying below a 1.5 degrees of global temperature rise, the best odds given by the IPCC, the world had 420 gigatons of CO2 left to emit back on January 1st, 2018. Today, that figure is already down to less than 350 gigatons. How dare you pretend that this can be solved with just business as usual and some technical solutions? With today's emissions levels, that remaining CO2 budget will be entirely gone within less than 8.5 years. There will not be any solutions or plans presented in line with these figures here today, because these numbers are too uncomfortable and you are still not mature enough to tell it like it is. You are failing us, but the young people are starting to understand your betrayal. The eyes of all future generations are upon you. And if you choose to fail us, I say we will never forgive you. We will not let you get away with this. Right here, right now, is where we draw the line. The world is waking up, and change is coming whether you like it or not. Thank you.
So that was Greta's speech from the UN Climate Action Summit 2019 that was held on September 23rd. Thoughts?
I mean, like,
She's a powerful speaker.
I was like, I'm obsessed.
Yeah. For her being only, how old is she? 16? Like, that's insane. When I was 16, I was not that passionate about anything.
Well, I think it's so important that, I mean, I'm sad that it's taken, this girl sacrificing so much of herself in order for people to just even take a second glance at anything. Because obviously, like, this whole movement shouldn't be on the shoulders of a 16-year-old at any point in time. But again, like, I applaud her for making those sacrifices and being so passionate about something so important and kind of awakening the youth of this upcoming generation into not just taking things at face value and to ask questions and to challenge and to pursue things that are going to, at the very least, affect them in the next, 10 years. So yeah, 100% obsessed with Greta.
Yeah, I mean, she's a great role model for the youth of today, and I also really like that, like, she's spoken about, like, herself being on the autism spectrum and, like, having Asperger's, and how she views it as a strength for her because she does think outside of the box. So she sees things a little bit differently than some people might. And she thinks that that's a good aspect to have in this situation where like she's spoken about like, like I don't really care about social cues as much and stuff like that. So I'm not afraid to speak my mind and speak the facts. I'm not afraid that like people are going to get angry, which BTW, there's like a huge uproar of like people being like, I'm not going to listen to a kid, blah, blah, blah. Even though the facts
they can die first.
Yeah, and the facts that she's telling them, it's not like she made them up or discovered them. Like she's just the messenger because people are listening to her. But also, I just wanted to like also point out that there are actually like many other climate activists that are doing amazing things as well, that don't really get to see the light of the media that she has. I mean, she's like, sparked this specific like strike and everything, but the other activists have done their parts as well, like Autumn Peltier, and there's another boy, Mr. Martinez. I cannot say his name, his first name. I tried to like look up how to pronounce his name, and I just couldn't. But he's another one of them. Israel, like there's many other ones as well, and I just wanted to like just give them a quick shout out because even though she's weird, like Greta's getting like a lot of the attention right now, there are other youth activists and they happen to be people of color, and I just wanted to give them their shout out as well. But
I was totally gonna say it too. I got you.
But yeah, it's I think her speech was amazing, and it said what needed to be said. It was pretty to the point. There wasn't like a lot of big information that people couldn't understand. So I hope that because it's in front of the world and it's a child saying this, that it is going to get a little bit more people to look this way. The strike, I think there was two. So like one that coincided with her speaking at the UN, and then the one that just happened this Friday. And it was like a global climate strike. And it was like amazing to see the numbers in all these places of people like showing up, and like the rallying cry to like officials in power to make the changes, like divesting from fossil fuels and oil companies, and to stop giving subsidies to them, but instead invest in the transition to climate solutions like renewable energy. And, we're not like saying just like, everybody stop using everything, like, because that's just not possible. You have to transition, but we're saying like, we need to start it now, and to transition, like to support a just transition for workers, and like one that's rooted in like fundamental rights of Indigenous people as well. So the strike, I think, was awesome. I think in Winnipeg, like just in Winnipeg, we had like 12,000 people come out. I wasn't able to go because my kids were sick and I was so sad. So we did like a little like climate like lesson at home.
Oh my God.
That's awesome though.
We followed like the live feeds. I follow Clayton Thomas Mueller, and he's like a great environmentalist in Canada. So we followed his feeds and stuff and tried to stay up with it. But I was sad I didn't get to make it out there.
Totally. There was, I think, in Victoria, it was either in Victoria or Vancouver, there was over 10,000 people that showed up on Friday, which is like, it's super awesome. It's kind of crazy that it's not crazy, but like, it's amazing that people are actually willing to make those like stands and everything. I wish I also wasn't able to go, and I wish I would have been able to go. Because I do think it's super important. I was actually just because I remember from just like previous elections and stuff like that, people freaking out about like carbon tax and stuff and how people get charged for carbon tax. It's like, there to help. Like, it's literally there to like help for like climate change. And so I just kind of like, I had pulled up kind of like, because I guess with the elections coming up, like what each party is like currently promising in regards to like carbon tax, just so like people can like, so to kind of compare. But it's like, it's kind of crazy to see what people think is valuable and what isn't. Like, so like the Liberals, they want to set a minimum carbon price of $20 per ton this particular year, which increases $10 a year to $50 by 2022, and imposed a carbon tax on businesses and individuals in provinces who with no federally approved carbon price plan. In those provinces, Ottawa is handing back carbon tax rebates to most residents. The tax has faced unsuccessful court challenges from several provinces, and it's kind of crazy that like it's like carbon tax isn't like a Canadian-based tax. It's based on like the provinces, so it's up to the province to actually really set the carbon tax and reduce like their like imprint, which is kind of crazy to me to think about. And it looks like the Liberals are wanting to make it more of like a generalized like tax for everyone across the country. But the Conservative Party like is actually saying that like it's ineffective, and they have vowed to like repeal it, and that the party would leave it up to the provinces to actually decide whether or not they want to put carbon tax and what the price would be for carbon tax within their own individual province. Which I don't get that. Like, it makes no sense to me. Like, if we're trying to reduce this for everybody, it should be something as like a country that we're doing, not based on like per province, per territory kind of a thing. It should be everybody together. And like, it actually just like blows it blows my mind.
Well, and that's just like one of the small facets of like things that we can do, right? As like what we're asking like people in power to do. And like, with the election, it is super important. Like, you know, the people in power can't really deny a public outcry that was like what it was on Friday. So, but it's also equally important to follow up with those people in power and the political officials, because they also don't have to do anything unless we hold them accountable. So doing things like, you know, reading up on what they're promising before you make your decisions. But also, like, I emailed all of like the parties. I wanted to like, you know, get an email like specifically and like tell them what I hold important. And like, so that's what other people can do as well, like emailing them, meeting them, taking up their time as a representative of what they need to be solving. And I think you can search your MP and what they've been doing in Parliament as well. I can probably find a link if we want to like link that in on our page or anything like that. But that's super important with the elections coming up. You know, like, I don't know. I think that we need to keep track of those things. Going out for the strike is awesome, but you have to follow up afterwards. If you're just going to go to the strike for going to the strike, it's not really doing it justice. You have to see what they're saying about environment and ask them about it and tell them what's important to you and why it's important to you, and then hold them accountable for the actions. Like, even like I was telling Braden, like, I am glad that like Trudeau came out for the march, like, but it also felt like weird to me because although of course like last week I was talking about how like I would definitely choose Trudeau over Scheer if it was a choice between the two of them. Thankfully, they are not the only choices. So, you know, I don't have to choose either one of them. But, you know, there are a lot of things that Trudeau did that I can agree with, but there's also a lot of things that I don't. And like putting in a pipeline and, you know, giving subsidies to oil companies and stuff like that, and like not staying in line with the fundamental human rights of Indigenous peoples, like these are issues. And you know, he's the person in power. So when we're having this strike and a rallying cry for these people in power to do things, to show up at that very march when you're not doing those things just feels weird to me. But as I said to Braden earlier, but if he didn't show up too, you know, it's a lose-lose situation. So yeah, it really is. Yeah.
Brandi, thoughts? Any?
I really don't have much more to add. I feel very similarly to both of you, obviously. And I agree with Des 100%. I think the most important thing is just not only to follow up, but to challenge and to ask questions and to get the information and the answers that you want from the people who you're placing into power. And complacency just is not an option at this point. So
100%.
get out there and vote. Get out there and make your message heard.
Yeah,
totally. Yeah, we'll link the. I have a really great website here. It's from CBC News, and it actually has like a poll tracker, and it has all of like their different, each political party's like standings on all the issues. So you can kind of read it there, and then get in touch with like the local people that you want to, and just make sure that you're like making these informed decisions. I think it's so important that like we as a generation and the generations after us, like our generation has such a huge toll in regards to like these particular political votes that and we need to make sure that we're going out there and doing our part. So that's all I gotta say about that.
Get to it, Canada.
Because at the end of the day, we're the ones that are going to pay for it, us and our kids. So
yeah,
100%.
Now's the time.
Now's the time.
I'm not a t-shirt, guys. I'm gonna do it.
I don't know. I don't have anything else really to like add.
Yeah,
I don't know.
We can probably conclude it there for today and
go from there. Cool. Well, thanks everybody for coming out. It was fun.
I'm sorry for getting angry.
No, it's good.
We like raging Brandi.
I'm going to apologize to everyone and their children for my obscenities.
No, it's good. I like that. I appreciate you. I appreciate the passion that you put behind like the things that you say, and I'm pretty sure our listeners do as well. So that's why they come here to the Trifecta podcast. Dun, dun, dun. All right, awesome. Well, everybody have a good week, and we will talk to you guys later.
Bye.
Like. Oh.